Here we are back in Identities and Inequalities. Again, chapter 5. As in case in point, consider the election and re-election of Barack Obama as the 44th President of the United States. Like millions of other Americans, I sat transfixed in front of my television on the night of November 4th, 2008, watching the presidential election results trickle in. At about 11 p.m. Eastern Time, the networks made the astounding projection. Barack Obama would be the 44th President of the United States. I sat in semi-disbelief. Had this country, one with such a difficult, painful, and deadly racial history, really just elected a black man? Now, you know, black is a slave term. We don't use that. The correct term is African because that's the term they replaced it with. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we're not going to repeat that ignorance. We're going to speak intelligently. Black is a color. It's not a designation or a distinction between cultures or people groups. Kill that noise. All right. Elected an African man to the highest office in the land, a development that would have been unthinkable 50, 25, or even 10 years earlier had just happened. People of all colors and classes here and abroad danced in the streets. Sociologists, columnists, and pundits of all political persuasions struggled at the time to find the most memorable and most articulate way to capture the historical significance of this moment. Some speculated that it might mark the end of racial prejudice and inequality in this country. Not hardly. Others wondered if we had become a post-racial society where traditional racial categories no longer mattered. Wrong answer. In a national poll shortly after the '08 election, more than 2/3 of African Americans, now see how they corrected themselves, but then they get stupid again. Yeah. Said they believe that Martin Luther King's famous 1963 dream of a country where race and ethnicity are losing their status as major criteria for judging the content of a person's character had finally been fulfilled. Really? Wow. They were lost. Psychologists talked about how having a, here we go, black president would serve as a positive role model for all people of color and lead to unprecedented levels of academic and perhaps even financial achievement. Marx, Coe, and Friedman, 2009. But such optimism never translated into tangible, long-lasting improvements. Consider how far-right extremism, or white nationalism, has reemerged more publicly and more violently in just the past few years. Most Americans say that since the 2016 election of Donald Trump, it's become more acceptable for people to openly express racial prejudice. Howards, Brown, and Cox, 2019a. Indeed, in the first few weeks following the election, schools around the country reported a significant increase in the use of racial slurs and incidents involving swastikas, Nazi salutes, and Confederate flags. Southern Poverty Law Center, 2016. The Anti-Defamation League reported that anti-Semitic crimes rose by more than a third in 2016. Interesting. And the Council of American Islamic Relations cited a 50% increase in anti-Muslim attacks. Call 2017. According to the FBI, hate crimes rose 17% between 2016 and 2017. Barrett, 2018. As one author put it, we're in an era when white nationalism isn't on the fringes, but on the inside of the political mainstream. Retman, 2018, page 40. Gender and sexual prejudice. While some forms of prejudice fluctuate as social conditions change, others are remarkably persistent over time. Research on U.S. gender stereotypes and prejudice, for instance, has shown that they haven't changed all that much over the years. Berger and Williams, 1991. Egley and Carew, 2002. Fine, 2010. Rudman and Glick, 1999. Despite breakthroughs in various sectors of social life, women have been consistently perceived as more passive, emotional, easily influenced, and dependent than men. Broverman, Vogel, Broverman, Clarkson, and Rosencrantz, 1972. Deaux and Kite, 1987. Tavris and Offer, 1984. What often seems to be universal prejudice against certain devalued groups is usually more nuanced. Consider anti-LGBTQ prejudice, known variably as heterosexism or sexual prejudice. Now, hold the phone, because I can't go past this without commenting. That nonsense is ridiculous for the simple fact that there's no way in the world that people are ever going to accept that lifestyle as normal, because it's against nature. Nature itself tells you if everyone was that way, that would be the end of society. When those people died, that would be it. Society would be dead. So it's common sense that something is wrong with that lifestyle. Now, for thousands of years, they kept it private to themselves and had minimum exposure, minimum hateful things done against them. Once it went public, rise. Instant rise. That's your own personal business. Keep it to yourself. I remember growing up, plenty of people who acted like they were effeminate or, for a girl, tomboy. But wasn't nobody trying to mess with them for real, because they weren't being flamboyant with it. They were just being themselves. Why can't you do the same thing? Straight people not going around, look how straight I am, look how straight I am, I'm so straight, for goodness sake. Come on, it's ridiculous. So keep it to yourself. Nobody want to hear about that for real. And anybody who do want to hear about it, only tell them. Don't publicize your business. That's the problem now. Too many people got their business out in the street, and then they wonder why everybody putting them on blast. Stupid. Why would you tell your personal matters? It's nobody's business what lifestyle you want to live. Nobody's business. That's between you, the Lord, and whoever it is that's partaking in that garbage with you. That's between y'all. Nobody else had anything to do with that. So if you want to be a weirdo, that's your choice. It's against nature. Of course, it's looked at as being weird. Don't be offended. You know what I'm saying? Be realistic. Then life will be much better for you. You sitting up trying to make somebody accept something that's unnatural. Unnatural. And the majority of the people that are that way were either led into it by a molester, a rapist, or they were abused by someone of the opposite sex in some way, shape, form, or fashion, which led them to believe that they could get more love from someone of the same sex, which I don't see how they went in that direction instead of saying, let me make better choices in my relationship. Like, going for somebody of the same sex is not making a better choice, okay? So let's be for real. That you're bringing even more problems into your life when you do that, because it's not accepted and never will be. People may say, okay, but they ain't trying to get down with that. That's why it's not accepted, because they know it's not normal, okay? It will and always will be considered a mental illness. Anytime you thinking you're the opposite of what you clearly are shown to be, I mean, let's be for real, okay? Let's not fantasize. Let's be for real. All right. So, glad we got that out the way. Now, where were we? All right. Consider anti-LGBTQ prejudice. For many decades, LGBTQ individuals worldwide have been rejected, ridiculed, and condemned on moral, religious, criminal, or even psychiatric grounds. Gee, I just covered all of that, didn't I? I did. And it's true, because all of that is wrong with them. It is. I don't care what this book says. According to the International Lesbian and Gay Association, 2.7 billion people today live in countries where homosexuality is a crime punishable by imprisonment, beatings, or even death, cited in Ball 2014. Consider these examples. In 2012, legislators in the Ukraine introduced a bill that would make it a crime punishable by imprisonment for producers of television shows and movies to depict homosexuals sympathetically. Ukraine Bill Purposes Prison, 2012. Wow, that's a pretty good law. In Nigeria, people who directly or indirectly make a public show of same-sex relationships, participate in gay clubs, societies, and organizations, or simply support those organizations, can be thrown into prison for as long as 10 years. Wow. I think that might be a little excessive. I don't think it'd take 10 years for them to figure out how wrong they were for supporting that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're going against the natural order of things. That's perversion. And it's very serious, because you can lead other people into that. That's the thing. That's why you keep it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you want to let your mind be perverted like that, that is your choice. You have every right to do that. But don't lead anyone else into that perversion. Now it becomes criminal. So I totally understand where they're coming from. Let's continue. In 2017, 10 years, no setter, 2014. In 2017, 2 Indonesian men were sentenced to public lashing for having sex with each other. The men received 85 lashes rather than the maximum of 100 because they renounced their actions. Wow. Ain't that something? I guess they weren't really that serious, because 100 lashes, then you be done. Then after that, you just keep it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And you good. Like, you can live that lifestyle. But apparently, it wasn't all that appealing. They weren't willing to earn it. Or shall we say, burn it. Because I bet they behind was burning after them 85. Afghanistan, Iran, Mauritania, Nigeria, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen have a statutory death penalty for homosexuality. Cameron Ian Berkowitz, 2016. Attitudes in the United States seem to have become more favorable in recent years. Yeah, because people are easily brainwashed in the U.S. Their minds are turned to mush. Smartphones, making them dumb. For instance, nearly 2/3 of Americans in one survey said homosexuality should be accepted by society. I wonder what 2/3 that was. And less than 30% said it should be discouraged. Wow. I guess it's a good thing America not ran like overseas, because 2/3 of the country be in prison or put to death. Fingerhut, 2016. But other evidence indicates a more negative trend. A recent national survey conducted by the Harris Poll found that after 3 years of growing acceptance, public attitudes have grown more negative, with larger numbers of people expressing discomfort in personal situations with LGBTQ people. GLAAD, 2019. The reason being is because of their flamboyancy. They can't be normal with it. You know what I'm saying? They got to be extraordinary, all carried away and just ridiculous. Don't nobody want to see all of that. Don't nobody want to hear all of that. Don't see, I guess they didn't realize that when they accepted it back then, that it was going to become like that. They didn't think it was going to, they just thought, oh, okay, we'll accept you. All right, just live your life. No. They want to impress that lifestyle upon everyone. Yeah. So now that acceptance has turned to the negative. It is what it is, because it will never truly be accepted. That lifestyle is against nature. So why are you trying to force people to accept it? You can't. You never will. All you're going to do is bring more heat to yourself. So y'all might as well go back into keeping it private, because that's the only thing that's going to make the situation better. You got your little medical coverage. You know what I'm saying? You better take it. Take what you can get and leave it. You know what I'm saying? Leave it alone while the leaving is good. Because in a minute, it's going to get crazy. Watch what I tell you. Watch. All right. According to recent data, 27% of high school students who identify as transgender feel unsafe at school. 35% are bullied, and 35% have attempted suicide. Johns et al. 2019. Gee, I wonder if they was trying to kill themselves before they transitioned. Like, was life so bad the way it was before that you was thinking about killing yourself? And now after you go with that idea, now you can't handle the pressure and you want to end it all? Why put yourself through that? Just keep it to yourself. Then you ain't got to worry about it. Some people may wonder, but it ain't none of their business. So it doesn't even matter if they wonder. You know what I'm saying? That's the best plan. More specifically, LGBTQ people in the United States. Oh boy. Almost past the time.